Hello YouTube! This video is about this old-time telephone that is now being used as a key storage box. This was in my parents' home down in Florida. It survived 2 hurricanes. The second one pretty much destroyed the house. They're both gone now. The house is sold. But we have this remaining, and I think we're going to clean it up. And we'll use it for the same thing it was used for then. These are all notes from my parents. I'll save them all. We'll start right here. I don't know why I save them. I mean, it doesn't really, I don't know. For now, I'll save them. And here we go. I'll take this lock out. Mouthpiece just appears to be screwed on. We'll take that off. And bag it. This ring right here is nailed in. The heads of the nails are sticking through the box. So maybe if I wrap on them, I can get them started to come out. Oh, how about that? Now let's see if we can get it to come up the rest of the way. Gently. There we go. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. All right, now I'll take the hinges off. Nothing but wood left. Now we got to do a lot of sanding. With the case taken apart, I've started to sand some of the pieces, and we'll continue to sand. I'm doing 80 grit now, and then I'll go 180, then 220, and then 320. So let's sand. We're down to the hand sanding where we've got to get the old varnish out of the groove. I don't want to lose the contour, so I'm going to do this by hand, and this should take a while. And we're still at 80 grit. We've got 180, 220, maybe 320. Then we got 3 coats of varnish, probably 4. The 4th coat is what really makes a difference. So I'll be here sanding. What we have here is a tumbler and all the metal pieces from the telephone. There's the bells and the hang-up thing, another bell, hinges. Anyway, we're going to dump it all into the tumbler. We'll add some water. We'll add some varnishing fluid. And plug it in. And this is what it looks like. And I'll come back every day and change the fluid and the varnishing fluid, and we'll look at it in 3 days. Here we are wiping on a coat of stain. This is the same stain I used for the shelf for the clock. So this will match, although this is oak and that was maple. And now we'll let this sit for a little bit and then wipe off any excess. And now it's been setting for 15 minutes. We'll wipe off all the excess stain so we get a nice even coat. No runs, no drips, no errors. And I'm not sure how long you gotta let it sit before you put varnish on it, because the directions on the can are covered with stain. The length of time you leave the stain on the piece of wood determines how deep the stain goes into the wood and how dark it gets. Now this I wanted to penetrate as deep as it would go. 5 to 15 minutes is what they say, no more than 15. We're gonna go for 15. I try to always do the front last, because that's the one that really counts how it looks. Who cares what the back looks like? All right, we gotta let this sit. I'm gonna go Google how long I gotta wait. When I put this coat on, it'll be the 4th coat. And all I'm doing here is just knocking off the shine. At this point, it's going to be as smooth as it's going to get. And we'll put a 4th coat on here. And we got to do the inside and the outside. And I'm not working too hard at this. I'm just knocking off any little bubbles that might be there. See this burnt spot? This used to be, I guess, where they put batteries for the phone. And obviously they had a leak at one point and it burnt the bottom of the inside of the cabinet. All I want to do is put enough on to make the surface look shiny. I'm not trying to put thickness on, because you get a run that way. These brushes work pretty darn well. And then what I do is, once I've gone over it once, I go back over it a second time without doing anything to the brush. And that seems to get rid of most of the air bubbles. Now that we've got the inside and the back done, we'll put some screws in these screw holes. And remember, it's just the inside and the back that's done. So I can take it and flip it over. And now we'll do it all over again. But first I'm going to do the dry brush technique to get rid of any excess varnish that I put on the inside. There. That's a very thin coat on the inside, and that's what we're striving for, is thin coats. And now we'll get the outside. I always do the back side of something first. That way, if I get any drips that run, I'll do the front side last and get the drips. So when I try to treat And I try to treat the back side just the way I'd treat the front side. And all I'm trying to do is get the surface wet. I'm not, so it shines. I'm not trying to lay it on real thick. I guess thinness stops the bubbles from happening, and speed stops the bubbles from happening. So this is the inside of the door. So it has to look just as good as the outside. This is what they look like up close. They're not dry yet. It is semi-gloss, but I think it'll come out pretty good. Hopefully, this is the fourth and last coat. What are you doing now, you might ask? Well, this is the tumbling bowl from my tumbler that has all the little parts in it from the telephone. And now what we have to do is rinse it all out, and we got to do it without having anything boil over the side like that, like all the little parts. So we just got to be careful and we take our time here. The trick is to get as much water out of here as you can without spilling any of the media, because it just takes that much longer to dry. And we'll go dump this out in a tray and start drying. We'll dump it out. And see what we got. Well, that came up pretty nice. That's certainly better than what it looked like. What we want to do is spread this out. We want to dry it as quickly as we can so that we don't have any rust. This is what the hardware looks like after tumbling. Looks pretty new. I think I'll replace that magnetic catch. But if you look at all the pieces, they came out pretty nice. What we have here are the two black pieces that need to be addressed. I think the best thing we can do is to paint them semi-gloss black. I think that's the best solution. We'll put these back into the bag so we don't lose them. And we're going to prepare these pieces for paint. We need to refinish these three pieces in black. It turns out that this plastic cone for the microphone unscrews, so we can separate that, and we can sandblast this and powder coat that. This is standalone, all metal, sandblast, powder coat. This, I think we're going to have to paint that. That's plastic. This comes apart. So we end up with this plastic piece, so we can paint that, and we can paint that. So we'll end up with these three pieces having the same color, and these two pieces being powder coated. We'll clean them with some paint thinner. There's really nothing on them, they're just stained from usage. I don't know, this one's rough. Time for a light coat of primer. Now that our primer has flashed, it's no longer shiny, we'll put a second coat on. First coat of gloss black. Want to keep it thin. Let's put our second coat on. Next thing is sandblast. Like that. Turns out this is brass. Who knew? But I'm going to go ahead and powder coat it black. Time to put some powder on these pieces. And into the oven they go. They're going to get 400 degrees for 30 minutes. This is what the wooden pieces look like now. There's 5 coats on them. The 4th coat didn't come out well. I think it's time to start putting it together. This is the back of the telephone. The box bolts on top of it like so. I think we start by putting the key holders in place. That way we don't have to do it inside the box. And that means we're going to empty out our first bag of parts. And we just start screwing them in to their old holes, like so. Now we got a number of them to do. With all the original hooks in place, and no hook here because this is where the bell ringer goes, we're ready to go to the next step, which is we can retire this empty bag for another day, and we can open up yet another bag, and this bag contains wood screws that holds the box to the back. So that's what we'll do next. These 2 screws are screwed into the original holes, so that means the rest of these should line up. And it appears that they're going to. And we'll screw them in. Last screw. And we have a box with the key hangers upright. Continuing to work on the box, let's put the crank in. And this was just a press fit into this hole here, but I don't know if it's going to go in this time because it's got varnish on the inside. Let's just see if we can tap it in. We'll put this little collar on and screw our handle on. Okay, it's just a faux handle, but it's there. And we get to retire another bag. And we'll turn the case around and put some hinges and screws on. We'll start with a middle one. And I'm not going to go real tight because they'll probably have to be aligned a little bit. Is the microphone picking up the wind? Can you hear the wind? Listen. Hear it? Last screw on that set of hinges. These hinges actually have a spring in them to close. See, if I push down like that, it'll close. That's old time. Here we go with another bag. And this is for the hook that goes in the side there. And we'll start by putting a little ring on, and it gets nailed on with these little nails. Okay, that's the last nail. Now we can put our hook in. And this is the block my father made in order to hold the hook in place because the guts were removed. And this is a little delicate. I'm not quite sure how to do this. We have to take this nail and feed it through the block and catch this hole to retain the hanger. We'll screw this retainer block in. We have to use a short screwdriver to do it, so it's not easy. With the adapter block screwed in and the ring around the hang-up hook nailed in place, we can move on. Let's put the earpiece on now. We have to be careful with this because this is only 12 hours for this paint. That's a lot less tape, but I don't know if the cord will stay on. All right, success. Now this goes through this hole right here, and we just tie a knot on the inside of here. And that keeps the cord from coming out of the cabinet. Now we'll slide the microphone into the case and screw on, I'm sorry, the earpiece. This is the earpiece. And it goes like so. Let's switch gears a little bit and work on the faceplate. I think what we'll do first here on the faceplate is mount the clipboard. Let's see if I can get the screws out. Here's the clipboard, and it goes like that. Well, these screws are not holding it, so I'm going to have to get some longer screws. Nice. Didn't split it, and that's on there now. No question. Now let's put the clip on here and screw it in. Same thing on the other side. There we go. Let's put the plaque on. There's nothing on this plaque, so I guess we could get it inscribed with something, and that would be nice. That's crooked. I can't do anything about that. That's the way it is. We'll put the microphone together, It goes on the swivel base, like so. And then the sleeve goes in the hole. And we get it to go all the way through, like so. Then we take a washer and a bolt, and we screw it in from the other side. And we have our microphone mount that swivels. 2 screws to mount it there. There's one. Now we need the plastic piece that goes in there. There we go. Looks like a microphone. I guess you get the drill here. We got another bag. We'll empty it out. These happen to be the faceplate that goes there. Let's put the little faceplates and lock screws in place. Here is the lock screw that goes through the door. And we put it in like that, and we take one of our screws and screw it in. So these screws are used to secure the door shut. And they screw into this bracket, which goes in the bottom box. So which switch again here again. And we'll put these brackets in. Now that we have the female side of the catches installed in the box, we'll put this aside again and start working on the faceplate again. We'll put the little cover for the clapper on the bells in. Now this was missing a screw when I took it apart, so it's still missing a screw. I don't have a screw to replace it with. It's a little tiny screw. This is the clapper for the bells. Obviously it doesn't work anymore. And it gets screwed to the back side of the front door, like so. Now, it's interesting that I missed these 2 screws, but fortunately, they're hidden. This will make a difference. Just snug it up a little bit. Another bag bites the dust. We're getting down on parts. We've got a bag full of notes. We've got a bag that has the catch in it that I was going to replace, but I'm going to put it in there just for nostalgia. We have some key rings that were inside the box and the remaining screws for the hinges. So let's turn this over as best we can and put the magnet on this side. This is now complete. We'll bring back the bottom box, and we have to put the bottom catch. Now we have to join the 2 pieces together, and this is going to be quite a juggling match. We have to get some screws started here without stripping them out. There's one started. Let's take a close look at what we accomplished. I think the finish came out pretty nice. I'm really amazed at how those bells came out of the tumbler. But this looks pretty good too, from a distance. And this side. And this is the back. Of course, we have to look at the inside, and I'll tilt it back so the light gets in. And the key hooks are there. I could put key hooks on the back of the inside of the door, but the door is thinner than the back of the box, and I'm afraid that if I put the hooks in, I'm going to screw through the front. Particularly because there's this rabbit right here. So for now, I'm just going to leave it alone. There we go. I think we accomplished what we set out to do. If you enjoyed this video, there'll be more.